podcast, where you will meet nonprofit organizations focused on improving the lives of veterans and their family members. Here is your host, Jeremy Paris.
Welcome, everybody, to episode 92 of the Veteran Resource Podcast. I'm your host, Jeremy Paris, and I've been gone a couple of weeks. You might have noticed. I hope you noticed. Did you miss me? I missed all of you. Is that cheesy? Absolutely. Yeah, I've had a lot of stuff going on the past couple of weeks. Some of you may know that I'm also the acting executive director for the Veteran Artist Program. And we've got this huge exhibit going on for Women's History Month, where we have an exhibit of 10 women veteran artists going up in 10 different VA medical centers across the country. And all of that was kicking off on the 1st, so we had a lot of work that needed to get done. At the same time, I was moving, and I also was invited to an intimate dinner with General Dempsey for the Stevenson University Speaker Series. I was invited to speak at Towson University to a group of awesome student veterans. Oh, and hey, did you hear I won an award? My name came up on the list of the Hill Vets 100 most influential veterans, so that's really cool. So with all of that going on, I decided to not put out episodes that were all haphazardly thrown together, and instead I would wait until I had the time to put it together the right way and give you a good episode. So today, what I have for you is a good episode. I've got J.W. Rone on today. He is the Director of Veterans Initiatives at the Institute for Integrative Health. With 30 years of experience in the arts, he has been a theater artist, director, and producer focusing on arts in education, and served as a board member, volunteer, and employee for nonprofit arts organizations. A proud Vietnam veteran, J.W. worked in the Special Services Division of the United States Army while stationed in Korea, where he directed plays and ran the entertainment center on base. He produced and directed soldier shows and performed USO-style shows for active duty soldiers in the combat zone while touring in Korea, Thailand, and Vietnam. Prior to joining the Institute, J.W. was the executive director of the Beaufort Arts Council, formerly referred to as Arts Council of Beaufort County in Beaufort, South Carolina. During that time, he created exciting opportunities for the community to participate in the arts. He's most proud of the concept, design, and execution of Artworks Community Arts Center and Arts Incubator, which was dedicated to creating accessible art space for artists in the greater Beaufort County community. Prior to that, J.W. served as the director of the Ice House for the Morgan Arts Council in Berkeley Springs, West Virginia. In that position, he managed all arts and education programs and oversaw the grant writing and implementation process. J.W. also worked extensively with the West Virginia Commission for the Arts, organizing statewide art assemblies and serving as a peer assistant specialist. J.W. has toured nationally and internationally performing, directing, and producing theater works with community youth and adults. He spent many years as a street performer, presenting his special brand of new vaudeville from London to Paris and Munich to Amsterdam. J.W. is an excellent blues harp player. When he's not connecting our nation's veterans with exceptional art resources in the region, you can find him teaching and playing his unique style of music for anyone who will listen. All right, let's jump right into the interview. J.W., welcome to the Veteran Resource Podcast. How you doing today?
Hey, Jeremy. Thanks for having me. I'm very excited to be with you today.
Absolutely. Yeah, I thought you'd be a great guest for the podcast ever since we sat down and had some lunch and told some stories.
Well, I've got more stories to tell since then, so I'll be happy to share whatever I can. I think it's neat talking with you because our missions are similar in some ways, in that it's about expanding the knowledge of the resource base that exists. So here at Vet Arts Connect, we're about connecting veterans with arts and nature activity. And so my job is going out across the state of Maryland and finding as many different activities that are there and are open and inviting to veterans to then connect veterans with that positive experience in their life.
Excellent. Excellent. And we're going to do a nice deep dive into Vet Arts Connect. But first, you've got quite the background yourself, and I would love for you to tell the listeners a little bit about yourself.
Well, I'm a Vietnam era veteran, and something interesting that I found out about myself is that, like so many veterans, I've been living in denial of that for 40 years. So once I got out of the military after doing I enlisted for 3 years to beat the draft. We still had the draft back then, and another story altogether. I'd support it coming back today. I think people should give back to their countries. But at any rate, I was drafted, and I beat that by enlisting for 3 years. And I was in the Army and had a great time. But when I got out after 3 years, I put it all behind me and lived most of my life in denial of my military service, and thought that was kind of unique until I started talking to a lot of veterans recently in relationship to my job, and found out that a lot of people are that way.
Yeah, yeah. Very interesting. And you kept yourself quite busy, though, while you were denying your military past.
Well, I always like to say that my experiences in the military prepared me for my life in the real world. I was a theater major at university, and when I went into the Army, I was stationed in Korea. And by learning how the bureaucracy worked, I was able to get myself a job as the NCOIC of the entertainment center on base
Nice.
at Camp House, Korea, Dongducheon, up about halfway to the DMZ from Seoul. And it was interesting duty. And so through that, I was part of a talent competition. And we'll be talking a little bit more about current talent competition in a few minutes. But I was part of, at the time, it was USERPAC. So everybody from Vietnam, Thailand, Japan, Okinawa, Korea got to go to Hawaii on temporary duty to compete in their entertainment specialties. And so from that, I was selected to be in charge of a small touring unit that then went to Vietnam and toured across the country in active war zones. So we were performing at forward fire bases, doing our rock and roll show for the troops. So I wasn't special forces, I was special services, doing soldier shows for the guys on the front lines in Vietnam. So as a person who resisted as long as I could, I was sent there to do what I did. So I was singing rock and roll music for the troops.
Nice. Very nice. And then you continued your performing once you got out, correct?
So, yeah, I've been engaged in the arts in one way or another for my entire life. So, as a theater producer, director, actor, made my living as a street performer for many years, traveled across the United States and Europe as a juggler, magician, fire eater.
Wow.
Um,
I think you're the
have,
first fire eater we've had on the show.
First fire eater. Ich bin ein Feuerschlucker, as they say in German, a fire eater. So, yeah, I did a lot of that and made my living on the street corners in Europe. And as an artist, I tell you what, you find out what your value is pretty quick. You can either hold an audience and people will stay to see what you do and have to say, or they won't. And then if they stay, did they donate to the hat? And are you making a living doing what you're doing? So it's a pretty immediate reality in terms of a gut check on your art, being a street performer.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, there's only one way that can go there. If you're doing a survey of that type, how much money came in the hat equals how well you were doing.
Pretty direct relationship. Yeah.
Exactly.
So that led me to a life of arts administration across the country. I've built 4 theaters in my life, in Seattle, Washington, and West Virginia, and South Carolina, and Baltimore. And then as an arts administrator, I've supported and engaged community arts of all kinds in all of those communities through the work that I did. So it's exciting to be able to take those 2 parts of my life, my veteran and my military experience, and my arts administration experience, and to bring them together in this project of Vet Arts Connect, and looking at organizing, coordinating, and connecting veterans and community arts programs.
Yeah, it's definitely a good fit there. And so for Vet Arts Connect, is that specifically for Maryland here?
Yes. Currently, that's what I have done, because mission creep is one of the big issues.
Oh, yeah.
And so to be able to grasp and understand the concept, and then to be able to take it to scale, I had to put some boundaries on myself and the program, to just for sanity's sake. So of course, when you do that in the state of Maryland, you go from the Eastern Shore to Frostburg in the mountains, and it's a lot of territory to look at, think about, and coordinate. You start looking at the numbers and you feel overwhelmed, and you realize that you can only do it one action, one individual, one moment at a time. And so I just keep looking at who's out there, where we can connect, and how we can inspire people to participate in creative programs.
Gotcha. And you're partnering with other groups, other organizations. I saw on the website. What types of groups are a good fit as a partner for Vet Arts Connect?
Well, anyone who's doing a community arts program already is a good candidate to work with us. So we're looking at the important thing that we're finding, and kind of our question from the Institute's viewpoint, is what is it in fact that makes the arts and nature important in the healing of an individual. And what we've come to believe, and are looking to evaluate through research in this project, is that it is active participation that is the key. So to be actively engaged in an art form that inspires you personally. And so that takes a lot of into account a lot of programs out there, So what is it that one individual is inspired by and is moved to be engaged by may not be the same thing for any two people or a few on either side, So whether it's a writing program or a drama program or a fly fishing program or a hiking program, whatever it is that touches that individual to inspire them to move, to actively engage in what in something, in anything.
Mm.
And of course, that lack of ability to engage is just one of those symptoms for the invisible wounds of war. So all of those issues that we're looking at are, socialization is sometimes hard for us to overcome and to put ourselves out there, and so to find a comfortable engagement of something, whether for you as an individual it's writing or playing an instrument or just walking in the woods, that's the thing that we want to inspire.
Gotcha. And you guys are working with putting statistics to this as well, right? Looking at how this is helping.
The program of Vet Arts Connect, I am learning to describe it as a three-legged stool. So first and foremost, it's about that connection, putting the veteran together with that active engagement. We are working with a great group out of San Diego that if people don't know about them, they're probably the foremost provider of training for military and veterans issues in the country. It's Psych Armor Institute. And Psych Armor has a huge library of training that is available for the public. And so we have worked with them to develop a portal for our partners, so that if we go to work with a community arts program, that instructor that will be working with the veterans will take a minimum of 2.5 hours of training at the Psych Armor Institute training facility online to help them understand the challenges and issues around working with veterans. So that's the second leg of the stool, connecting the veterans with the art, making sure that the art is a safe place for that veteran, and that the people that are there are open, inclusive, and understand the need for active participation through the program. And then last but not least, because this is a program of the Institute for Integrative Health, we're looking to gather data to be able to prove our premise that engaging through active participation in the arts and nature brings a positive element to your health. So we'll be questioning that through surveys and working with our evaluation partners on that. So it's a very robust program and looks at a lot of issues. The concept for the program grew out of the Arts and Health program at Walter Reed Hospital. And so the folks that helped start that Arts and Health program there, and this is the exciting thing, that I'm working with the folks that help to develop these programs that are there supporting the folks with serious injuries and understanding better PTSD and TBI and depression and those issues that are out there that are so affecting our returning forces.
Yeah, absolutely. And this seems like it would be a great opportunity for different arts and music organizations out there that they're already doing great things with their members, doing art therapy, for instance, but they might not be measuring it. So when somebody comes to them and says, you're helping, 1,000 or 10,000 people through art therapy, that's great. But what percentage of these people are experiencing less symptoms or things like that? Without actually doing the measuring, it's hard for an organization like that to be able to qualify what it is they're doing correctly.
And it's an expensive process too. And
Right.
so that's one of the things that is holding the community, that arts and health community, back from being able to have the ammunition that they need to support the the understanding of the need for these programs, both in the VA and in the community, and how they connect. And so there's a big awareness out there. There are, as you at the Veterans Resource Podcast, you are uncovering these nonprofit organizations one at a time and exposing them to the light. In the business world today, a big term that's used is silos. We're all working in our own silos, and we have to break down those silos so that we can open up and work together. And I think that's really important. I'm finding in the veteran support community is that we're all so intent on doing our own thing. It's sometimes hard to open up and reach out.
Right.
I'm looking to find ways that we can do that, and how we can connect those folks together. And like you said, it's as simple as, oh, well, there's already a program going on. There's a veteran in your community. Can you include them? And then it's a matter of identifying. And those veterans that are out there, they're like I was talking about. They're kind of like me. They're not easy to find. The federal government wants to protect them, so they're not like lists that you can go out and say, "Oh, there's a veteran. We'll find him and give him an opportunity to have the arts."
Thank God there's not a list like that, huh?
Yeah, exactly. And we're thankful for that.
We would be
But when you're
marketed against
providing
left
this
and right.
Yeah, but when you're providing the service, then you're saying, well,
Right.
how do I find these people to be able to, these people, there they are, identified as this group.
Right.
And so, that's part of the training part for our partners too, is to be able to open your eyes and look around. And once you do, it's easier to start identifying the veterans in your community, and then you begin a conversation, and then you help them connect as well.
Yeah. Well, that seems to be a growing trend nowadays. In the past few years, I've really noticed it, is veteran organizations in the space are collaborating and they are working together. And a lot of the big ones that I've been talking to, that's one of the things that you see. The ones that are really successful right now, that's what they're doing, is they're connecting with other organizations to, not just say, well, all veterans should only come to our organization. They're passing it around saying, hey, our organization is great. Here's another one, though, that we work with that does something a little bit differently. And we're going to have a combined event going on with, us, them, and 10 other organizations that will give you something more well-rounded. And I'm loving seeing that trend right now.
Yeah, exactly. There are several of those things that come to mind as you talk about it. Just seminars that open up and just open the doors to veterans and bring together nonprofit organizations and support organizations that can help talk about benefits and opportunities that exist that a lot of people don't know about. And it functions on a scale from top to bottom. I was at a DC collaborative meeting a couple of months ago, and one of the things I'm new in this business, so I'm constantly learning new things every day. But there was a homeless shelter there that was talking about their interaction with the homeless people and the fact that they don't present as veterans. So when they encounter a homeless person, there are benefits that could be available to that person if the caregiver provider only knew that they were a veteran. So how did they get that information from the individuals as well? So it's a unique situation.
Right. Absolutely. So did I see that correctly that you're also launching a directory coming up? What was it, April, I believe?
Well, we have a website now, so there is information at the TIIH.org site. So that's the Institute for Integrative Health, and that is my parent organization. So the Vet Arts Connect is a program of the Institute for Integrative Health, which is an organization that operates internationally that supports integrative health concepts. So working with everything from there was someone, one of our scholars was talking about attending a Chi conference.
Hmm.
So the entire conference was held in Asia, and it was about Qi, the life force and energy that's talked about in Chinese medicine. So gathering, so those kinds of ideas to support an integrated process for healing. And so that's why they're excited to be looking at the idea of art as a healing mechanism, whether it be for veterans or for anyone in the population. But right now, our focus is on the healing aspects of the arts in the veteran population.
Very cool. I normally associate the arts with, like, there's art groups out there that are helping veterans. There's music groups out there that are helping veterans. But I don't normally associate those with outdoors. But after you started talking about it, I can start to see some connections there.
Well, it's an interesting piece of what we do, and I'll give Dr. Foote a shout out here because Dr. Fred Foote, who was one of the people who was instrumental in the Arts and Health program at Walter Reed Hospital, um, has developed a a sacred place on base at Walter Reed called the Green Road.
Hmm.
And so he is one of the folks who has been instrumental in the concept of the Vet Arts Connect program. And it grew out of an understanding of the value of this work. And so the Green Road Project is a 2-acre plot of land in the middle of the uh, Bethesda campus at Walter Reed Hospital that is prepared with trails that go through nature that are wheelchair accessible and appropriately built so that you can wander through the woodland down by the stream, sit on a bench in the middle of undisturbed nature, and just experience it. And so there's a whole movement around the concept of sacred space, capturing sacred space, understanding and appreciating that space. And so, through support and the work of the Institute for Integrative Health, that 2-acre nature reserve has been created right there in the middle of that hustling, bustling hospital area that brings that healing ability of nature to heal our bodies. And so that's why this is included. And so now we're opening it up to look at things like one of the partners that will be included in our directory is the Project Healing Waters. And
Oh, yeah.
they're a great national program, and they have 3 sites already in Maryland, and they're about fly fishing. So it's about tying the flies, understanding the theory behind the flies, understanding the art form of casting for fly fishing, which, you don't think about it being an art form, but when you start engaging in it physically and you understand all of the elements of being able to cast a fly, it's a pretty amazing process, and so art form expands into a lot of different areas. The is simply walking meditations. So walking in the woods becomes an art form as well. Whether you were looking for birds and understanding how to do that, or watching the vegetation around you, each one of those things engages not only you physically, but your mind as well.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Every time I go down and do some hiking in Shenandoah, I leave there with an incredible feeling of peace. Absolutely love going there.
So that's why we're including nature as part of our active engagement programs that we're featuring. So yes, we will have a listing, and by the middle of April, I've got 6 or 8 organizations that are already looking to participate. We're starting to build a pilot program that will gather the initial data, so that we will start understanding how to ask the questions and how to build the evidence-based research programs. And then once we have all of those pieces of the puzzle functioning, then we'll be able to open it up and include other partners. Right now, we're going to be working with Common Ground on the Hill in Westminster, Maryland. It's a folk art school that has been around for over 30 years now. And they have a veterans initiative that they have been working on for the past 5 years, that is including veterans into their folk art school through scholarships to be able to bring these guys in and give them the opportunity to spend 2 weeks on a small college campus in central Maryland and learn how to play a fiddle or a guitar tune, or turn a bowl on a wheel, or do some stained glass work. And each of those things are things that help them learn and grow and move forward in their lives.
Very
So
cool.
that's one of our partners, and then we're also working with a Shakespeare theater, the Chesapeake Shakespeare Company in Baltimore, and we're going to be doing a theater project that'll bring in a group of 10 to 15 veterans that will work together on a performance-based piece, and we'll look at and talk about how that impacts them as well. So I just came back from the 4th Arts and Health in the Military Continuum conference in Tampa, Florida. And so this idea of arts in health has become a big deal in the veterans programs and in the military. And so now, for the first time, there's a program that is connecting the National Endowment for the Arts and the Department of Defense and the Americans for the Arts, a nonprofit organization, to work together to support the arts and their healing powers for our veterans. And so this work has become very important out there. And so I'm throwing this in because the National Endowment for the Arts is something that's been out there supporting artwork in America for over 30 years. And to be in a situation where the Department of Defense is recognizing the healing power of the arts, we've come a long way, baby. So it's important to think about that, and that through a program with the National Endowment for the Arts, Creative Forces, they have recognized the importance of the work of the Healing Arts Program at Walter Reed um, and at Fort Belvoir, and the Congress has given an additional $2 million a year to the NEA to support the Creative Forces program that is expanding that healing arts program into 10 other facilities across the United States to be able to match the work that's being done at Walter Reed and Fort Belvoir. So that's a pretty amazing little piece of the puzzle there to see the Department of Defense and the National Endowment for the Arts working together and understanding each other's importance.
Yeah, love seeing that. Absolutely.
And so that brings me to one other little thing. We've got lots of things to talk about, but I did want to bring up the fact that the current administration, in looking at the budget for the federal government, is looking at the National Endowment for the Arts as one of those things that can easily be eliminated from the budget. And I was just looking at the NEA budget, which is about $150 million a year. And that $150 million a year goes to support a lot of things across the country. And if you can identify a line item in the federal budget that is only delineated in millions of dollars and not billions of dollars, then you're hitting the low-hanging fruit in terms of trying to cut the budget. So I just want everyone to know that we need to advocate for the arts, and that we can do that in March through Arts Advocacy Day. And Art Advocacy Day is a program that's run for 30 years out of the Americans for the Arts. And you can go to the Americans for the Arts website and look up Arts Advocacy Day. It'll give you the details, but it's the day when we, the people engaged in and supported through the arts, are able to go to Congress and to express our interest in them continuing the support for the arts, both through the NEA and for other art support agencies. So there's my commercial for the day, Jeremy.
Thank you very much. I've participated in one of those arts advocacy days. Pretty cool.
Well, it happens every year, and you can do it again this year. It happens locally. You can do it. You're right there in Annapolis. You can go right across the street and tell them how important it is. And on the 20th and 21st of March, we're all going to gather together at the Capitol. And as a group, we will be addressing each of our own personal senators and congresspersons to make the pitch to support this important work.
JW, I will probably see you there.
So lots of great stuff going on, and I'm connecting things. So I'm a pitch man for a little bit of everything. But one of the ways that we celebrate the arts and veterans is through the National Veterans Creative Arts Festival. And it's Veterans Creative Arts Festival time right now. I this past week I went up to Perry Point veterans facility, and I was one of the judges for the visual art entries on the local level. So this program supports veterans working in the arts across the board, from the local level to the state level to a national program. And people who win blue ribbons at the local level are then advanced to the state, and if they win there, then they go on to the National Creative Arts Festival. And it's an incredible program. It's very broad. It reaches out from everything from paint by numbers programs at the very lowest level to performance and dance, music, poetry, and all of those things are celebrated at the National Festival that'll be coming up later in the year. But there's a performance for the Maryland Veterans Creative Arts Festival. I want to get it right. I'm looking at the flyer here in front of me, and it's coming up Saturday, April 1st of this year. It's at the Bowie Center for Performing Arts on Old Annapolis Road in Bowie, and the tickets are $10 at the door. We'll have a visual art show and then a stage show at 2:00, and we'll have the first place winners from the Maryland State Creative Arts Festival performance winners will be there for that show.
That's
so
awesome.
I'm having a good time working with the American Legion Auxiliary Department of Maryland. So the American Legion Auxiliary has founded and run this National Creative Arts Festival for many years now, and they do amazing work. So as we were talking about veteran support organizations, certainly the American Legion is one of the oldest and best known, and the American Legion Auxiliary does amazing work.
Looking forward to that too. I'm gonna have to put that on my calendar.
Yeah, lots of neat stuff, and that's my job, is to go out and find those things and see those people and see their art. There was this lady who was a WAC from World War II, and she was showing her cross-stitch work, and she was a first place winner in cross-stitch.
Wow.
And it was really, really, truly amazing work. So,
well, JW, we're pretty close to hitting up our ceiling for time here, but
it can't be possible.
Right?
We said that we were going to try to get 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Did we make it to 20 minutes?
We made it to 20 minutes. Yep, we totally did.
Okay.
But before we go, I do want to jump into the final three questions. So without any further ado, who would you like to hear on a future episode of the Veteran Resource Podcast?
Who would I like to hear? Well, a new friend of mine is Lady Anne Marie O'Malley, and Anne Marie works for the Creative Forces program at the NEA, and I think it is really amazing work, and would like to have more people know about that. So, Anne Marie O'Malley.
Excellent. I will put that down. Definitely try to get Anne Marie on here.
Job for you? Is that the problem?
That is exactly what I'm doing. That's the whole reason I put that question in there. Is no, really. I find out, just like my listeners who don't know about a lot of these organizations, they hear about these organizations for the first time on the podcast. A lot of these I hear about for the first time through the people that I'm interviewing. And every time that I'm out there, I'm at different events, I'm talking to people, and they'll say, "Oh, you interview veteran nonprofits. Have you heard about?" And more times than not, I haven't heard about these organizations. I mean, when you have 40,000 plus out there, it's hard to know about them all.
Right. So uh, to all of the people out there in your podcast who are listening, if you have a national organization that is working or would consider working in Maryland with Maryland vets, please contact me, J.W. Rone at TIIH.org. If you are if you are an arts organization in Maryland that would like to work with veterans, please contact me and let's work together and see how we can develop a program that will be appropriate.
Excellent. And I will make sure that I put those in the show notes as well to make it super easy. All right, we're going to move on to question number 2. What upcoming project has you fired up right now?
Well, I'm fired up about the pilot evaluation program of Vet Arts Connect. I'm fired up because I've been working real hard since October of last year to bring this program together. But I'm fired up because I believe that we are going to find positive answers to our question. And having those positive answers is going to help us create more programs to support active engagement for veterans in the arts.
Very nice.
That was pretty self-serving, but I'll take it.
Okay, if you woke up tomorrow and you found out that somebody made an anonymous donation of $10 million to your organization, what would you do with it?
Well, I'm excited about the fact that we're going to be gathering data. But one of the hard things is that my mandate tells me that I need to go out and find partners who are already doing things and use the things that they're doing. And if I had $10 million, I would go out and I would start building those programs myself so that I could pay artists to be able to provide the services that are needed in our veteran community.
Oh, that would be a win-win for everybody.
Yeah. So
for the person out there with $10 million who wants to donate to a good cause, you just heard what JW can do with it. If somebody out there has maybe a little bit less than $10 million and you're still looking to help out, JW, how can they get in contact with you one more time?
It's J.W. Rone at TIIH.org. That's Tango India Hotel for all you military types out there. And you can find us on the web. I just checked this out. You can go directly to us just by going vetartsconnect.org, and it'll take you right to that spot on the Institute for Integrative Health website. And we'll tell you more and tell you how to become a partner and how you can connect with me directly right there at vetartsconnect.org.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show, JW, and sharing all of this with us. Very, very much appreciate it.
Well, I hope somewhere along the line it made a little bit of sense, and I hope it will inspire people to get involved in providing and supporting arts activities for our veterans. So thank you very much, sir, for your service. I appreciate everything that you're doing then and now. For those out there, just once again, shameless self-promotion, but I want you to know this Veterans Resource Podcast is a great place to get a lot of good information.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it, JW. Thank you, everybody, for listening to episode 92. As always, make sure you go and check out the show notes. They're at veteranresourcepodcast.com/092. You'll have all of the links to get you over to JW and find out about all of the things that he's got going on. And also, in the beginning, I mentioned that I was doing this big project for the Veteran Artist Program. And if you are interested in that, you want to check that out, you can go to veteranartistprogram.org and you'll be able to click on the banner right when it comes up and see the whole art exhibit. There's videos there. It's an interactive exhibit, and The women veteran artists are all amazing, so be sure to check that out. That's all I have for you today. I'll see you tomorrow for episode 93.